back, I'm Gertie Root. Back again, a Saturday mood. Well, here I am, I'm back, it's Saturday, I'm going to react to this. This is a Michelle meltdown somebody sent me, talking about somebody, I don't know who it is. Anyway, load of BS, my name gets brought up, as always. Somehow I'm always dragged into everything, even though I'm deliberately not getting involved with anything. So I've got a right to reply. And I've got things to say, so we're going to jump in. I know Michelle won't mind. Well, I hope you don't mind, darling. It's a reaction video, sweetheart. Anyway, let's go.
That wasn't the avenue I was going to. I was not trying to take her down.
Right.
That's exactly it. They keep saying this shouldn't be fodder, but they're the ones that are making it the fodder.
Right, that's
it started.
Let's get on to the... Let's go.
Like, I know, hold on.
One of them's a real chubby chihuahua. And
no, I can't. You gotta...
Well, basically, I'll cut to the chase. You got Blander. That cretin. I hope you hear this, Blander. You are a cretin. Not more than a few weeks ago, you were in my comments section, chatting quite nicely to me. But because I called out your bosom buddy, yeah, for bullying, and let's have it right, if you feel you're being bullied, rule of thumb is you're being bullied, okay? A vulnerable member of social media, let's put it that way, a vulnerable member, who was groomed, because I've got it from the horse's mouth, purposely, by a particular person or particular people, to raise up on YouTube, to annoy somebody else. I mean, you know, these people are unbelievably immature and demented. I've got more intelligence in my little fingernail than the combined efforts. What the hell is going on here? I can hear a lot of noise, but nobody's saying anything salient, okay? Now, for what it's worth, I never doxed, in the sense of the word doxed, anybody. And if anybody has got the freaking proof, please show it me. Because even the person I get accused of doxing has never accused me of doxing. I was pursued relentlessly last year, relentlessly. Now, we're all on here having a little pity party, aren't we? For a recent widow. Well, I was a recent widow myself at the time when I jumped straight in, head first, feet first, whatever, considerably large ass first, to defend a family who I was basically projecting my own grief onto. Now I realise that I've had a few weeks bleeding rest from their drama, constant, of the undomiciled variety and the domiciled variety. These people are so immature, narcissistic freaks. They need to leave people alone, okay? I never liked the Suffolk thing, never. Everybody knows that, I've made no bones about it. I don't like men like him. And I've since found out why I instinctively never liked that man. Okay? Because I had somebody actually make me, force me, to sit down and watch one of his damn podcasts. God, that's half an hour I'm never going to get back. I mean, these podcasts were on for 2 hours. I mean, he's a narcissist, so it's a monologue in it when he's on. But the salient points were, as I've highlighted already, we're not going to talk about that anymore. Because unlike him, I don't go around exploiting the deaths of minors. Draw a line under that. But I don't like being accused of doing something I haven't done. Last year, I was doxed when my channel was terminated by a certain person, who shall remain nameless. It took me a number of weeks to get it back, to formulate my thoughts in a concise way, enough to get it through YouTube's bleeding censors, bots, and God knows who else, to a human reviewer who could see that I was merely doing a reaction video as a parody account. Okay, that's all I was doing, no more than what Michelle's doing here. Okay, totally within the fair use, fair dealings guidelines. There was no reason to have my channel taken off me, but I wore it well. I even at the beginning knew that if I defended this family, who I didn't know, from a block of bleeding butter, these people, I, like you, only knew them from what I see on screen. Okay? I had no idea of their backgrounds. I even spoke to the female non-domiciled person that I'm referring to about her so-called, I don't want to use the word criminal, but background, what shall I say, rather spicy background. And being a news junkie myself and an ardent Sussex resident, I'd never heard of her. Never heard of her. But apparently she was some big wig in that community of expat crims. I don't know, I don't want to say. Right? But I'd never heard of her, and apparently she was all over all these papers in 2000 and something or other. Well, I can assure you, if that was true, I'd have heard of her. Papers was my thing in those days. Okay? It's before mobile phones and the internet, blah-de-bleed-blah. If I wasn't reading a book, I was reading a paper. I'd read the back of a shampoo bleeding bottle if it meant I could read something. Okay? And I'd never heard of this woman. That's not to say that what she's saying isn't true, but it's rather disconcerting that somebody like me that lives a spit away from where all this went down, I'd never heard of her. Never heard of her. So why, when I jumped in, I literally just saw two people going through what they were going through. And I knew, because I'd been through it, that you hold the faith with your loved one. With my one, he was my husband. He was on a health kick of drinking, raw celery juice every morning. And I was expected to drink it with him, and I drank it with him. And you weren't allowed to put salt or pepper into it. You just had to drink it. Then he had the organic blueberry shakes, which are a lot more palatable, I can assure you. But you hold the faith with that person. And I believed that he was going to live. I totally believe, because you can't function if you think, why am I doing this? Because this person who I love beyond all imagination, my best friend, my everything, my world. I could never believe that. Never. So I went through everything. Flip forward a year, just over a year, when I see this happening to these undomiciled people in another country, who I'd seen on screen and were much bigger YouTubers than me. And yes, like all you lot, I made that big mistake of looking up to people that were bigger than me, not realising that these people actually buy subs. It's no good they can keep saying, no, we don't. You can tell they do. All the information's out there. You can't hide the fact when you buy subs. Okay? But I didn't realise that. I was as innocent as anybody. Even one of my biggest enemies from last year has since contacted me and said, you know what your main problem was, because I'm 62, he knew this. He said to me, your main problem was you're not tech savvy and you didn't realise what was going on. I mean, I made the biggest mistake ever of when I was doxed on X. I tried to fight back. I mean, can you imagine? Trying to fight back, 4 men and half a dozen women, all who were faceless. I knew some of them who were behind them. When it comes to this particular tea and therapy person, I was pretty sure, because she and Atalanta had put pictures up of my husband that were taken before he died, okay, and mocked him all over X. And I asked the domiciled person never to let me know what was said. Even the person that came to my house and told me, look, have you seen what's on X? Because I wasn't on X. Other people had uploaded some years ago Gertie Rude onto X, but I, Gertie Rude, the real person, wasn't on X. I had no idea how you operate X. It took me years to operate YouTube. It's taken me over a year to work out how TikTok is run. You know, let alone Rumble and BitChute, people like that. I've got no idea. And I'm on them as well. I just put stuff up there, but I don't work on there, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was an absolute, well, it was a hornet's nest, wasn't it, really? So me trying to fight back, and like I said to the non-domicile person, I will continue until I draw my last dying breath to get even for what they've done to my deceased husband. How dare they bring a dead man into their bleeding hoo-ha? Why? Because I'd stood up for what I believed in and defended some people that I believed needed defending at that time. And retrospectively, no, not at all. And that's a whole nother story that I'm not at liberty to tell you about quite this time. But when I can make it public, well, all the people that refuse to believe will refuse to believe, but I've got all the paperwork. Okay? I was set up, and I think now I've said to everybody that will listen to me behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure they were laughing at me behind my back. I was giving them my 100% Aries loyal woman, right? I've got a life. I spent most of the last year too scared to go outside my front door, and when I did, I was looking up and down the road. I had to tell all my neighbours that I was being stalked, cyber stalked, and having these threats put online against me, blah, blah, blah. I even had my neighbour's car put up there. I even had my neighbour over the road who's is nothing to do with me. She's got a disabled son and everything. Her house was plastered up there. Some things have been put right behind the scenes now. But at the time, I'm going back in a TARDIS to last year, okay? And it was hell on earth. If I hadn't had a child, I would quite happily not been here. I'd have checked out. It was literally hell on earth, okay? And for what? For what? Because I dared to stand up for a couple of people who I believed needed somebody to defend them. I saw the person with tears in her eyes, choking back the tears, talking about how frightful it is being cyberstalked when you're battling cancer. I didn't know about all their sock accounts. I believed Tricky when he said he's never had a sock account. I now know he definitely is on X and definitely has sock accounts. And so does the other people. They all have sock accounts. But I believe them. I believe them. I didn't have sock accounts. I'm Gertie Moo pretty much everywhere you go. Okay? So I believe these people. You project onto people yourself, don't you? And I think people believe what they want to believe. And I saw myself in these people. And then made it worse, I found out that they were Aries as well, like me. So even more I trauma bonded and reflected myself onto them. As I've said a million times, I thought of her as my little sister, who is also a widow, who I helped through widowhood when she was just like 50 or 52 or something, when she was made a widow. So it was very easy for me to step in and defend people, or just be there for them. And I was always there for them. Behind the scenes, I can remember some nights I was up all night WhatsApping and chatting when certain people couldn't sleep. You know? I just don't know what else to say, really. I don't want to keep saying, you know, because I end up sounding like Mike Graham of Talk TV. You know. But anyway, I didn't dox anybody, and I resent Blander you saying that. Okay? Bring the receipts. And before you do say anything about me, you want to look into what I had to put up with. What the hell I was put through. And stuff I can't say at the moment because I've got family present and I don't want them to hear what I'm saying. But disgusting stuff was posted. Disgusting stuff. Pictures were stolen, images were stolen from locked Instagram accounts and plastered all over X that they had no right to put up there of something or someone very dear to me, okay? They had no right to do that. I tried to get X to take it down, but apparently this person had broken no guidelines. I was sent an image of a car, a Google image of a car. No number plate, just a car. I posted the car on X at the time, okay, because I wanted a reaction. I got the reaction I wanted. The person who I thought was behind the big reveal account lost her shit and went mental. So then I could marry up that name with that account and know who I was dealing with, because at the time I was reporting it to the police because of what had been done to me. I've had my address, my postcode, my car, my dog, child, family, deceased relatives, everybody put up there. And all I did was post a car. That is not doxing. The person who we're referring to is pretty much out there in the public domain anyway. You could Google the person's name and come up with all their details, okay? Whereas with mine, it took fake copyright strikes from somebody who then YouTube passed on my details to, because if you do a copyright strike, you have to do it with clean hands, having been to copyright school, and you realise that this is a case for copyright, and you intend to take the copyright breaker to court. So if you intend to take them to court, you put in the copyright strikes, yeah, and then I can counter copyright. I can counter it. If I counter it, that means YouTube will then have to give my private details to the copyright striker, so then they have my private details to send a lawyer's letter to me and a court date summons for breaking their copyright. That is what copyright strike's about. It's not to get the person's personal details so you can plaster them all over X. And I can tell you it was a matter of hours between them, because I got an email from YouTube. They sent me an email. They said, right, we've accepted all three. I only needed one, but they accepted all three of my counter copyright strike notifications, okay? Accepted them all and forwarded my private details to the copyright strikee, okay? And with hours, my house, my front door, the picture of my house, everything, my car, me, my name, postcode, the whole lot was all over X. Nobody talks about that though, do they? Let's not talk about that. And then I did a parody, because that's the only skill I have, loosely based on the people that were bullying and cyber stalking and scaring the crap out of me, to be quite honest, because I wasn't up with all this. I've listened to this, whatever this show is here, where everybody talks over everybody. I mean, I love all these ladies, but I'm not sure what I've done that I keep being brought up as somebody that's done this. I mean, ORMV has accused me of the most outrageous things, when all I've ever done is, because I liked her, and I like the non-domiciled person as well, I was caught between a rock and a hard place. And in fairness, I always defended ORMV's right to create whatever content she cares to create. It doesn't have to be state-sanctioned by Tricky, does it? You know, because Tricky's got all the connections and you're only allowed to say this and you're only allowed to say that. No, it doesn't work like that. ORMV can create whatever content she wants to create about the Marklets. And sometimes, no offence ORMV, I wish you'd just concentrate on doing that. Because the rest of it is just a nest of he said, she said, you said, we said, right? None of you know who I am and what I'm about and what I'm doing while I'm staying quiet. Okay? I am the only person that's got a summons from that bleeding twat. And I would gladly show it on air. I'll show it on live. Any of you want to invite me on a live? Invite me. I never get invited. Nobody ever invites me. Is it because of my age you think that I won't be able to cope with it or something? I don't understand why I never get invited. Why don't I get a platform to say something? I would gladly show the letter. Well, saying letter, it's more like bleeding Dostoevsky. It's more like War and Peace. The cretin. He sent me pages and pages and pages of my own transcripts from my own videos. Why would I need transcripts from my own videos? I've got them already. But this mug paid thousands of pounds for this. And of course it was an intimidation tactic. I can't wait for him to send me a summons. I really can't wait. I would love to go to court. I would love to defend my position when it comes to, well, certain statements he's made whilst laughing, mocking, bragging and boasting. From my point of view, he's dined out for far too long on a particular scenario. Well, there's quite a few when you watch his podcasts, but there's one that's head and shoulders above all the rest. And I don't think it's morally right that people dine out on other people's children's, dare I say, demise. Dare I say that? I've got to be so careful what I say. So then this bleeding cretin of a man, excuse me, I had COVID, didn't I? And it's still hanging up. I'm over it. But it goes to your chest, you know that, don't you, if you've had it? So I'm still sort of wheezy and coughy and this, that and the other and snuffly. I expect you can tell I'm snuffly. Well, when aren't I snuffly? I've either got allergies or I've got a cold. So, where am I? So then this creep comes on here and starts telling this other woman, I don't know what this other woman is, that's Michelle, that's ORMV. I don't know who the other lady is it Selena? Somebody, anyway, yeah? Who's merely gone on to speak to Candace and then was set up by everybody else having a tuck into her and all their little acolytes. You do find when you've got a grandiose narcissist or a malignant narcissist, they always are surrounded by disciples. They always, I mean, that's how that annoying German tyrant got where he was, because he was surrounded by it. And everyone was eager to be noticed, eager to have a crumb from the table, eager to have a pat on the head. I'm not sure how eager you have to be before you start genocide, but there you go. That was a thing, you see. And you find that with cult leaders, I mean, that annoying Teal Swan, taking it, I mean, obviously a far distance between the annoying German tyrant and Teal Swan, but you do find with all these sort of cult leaders that they have these disciples that would literally defend them if they shot up an orphanage. They would find that a reason, you know, and we're all being a bit sensitive because, hey, you know, that is how bad they are. And I've had them all over my channel saying to me, how can you criticise Tricky, call him Tricky, because you've never been in a war zone? Well, I've never been nowhere near Camilla's handbag, but if I was, I know I would definitely not take a piss in it. I don't need to be in a war zone to know that I would not behave like that, okay? And then I found out that absolutely vile, reprehensible woman that actually said that to me was in the army, but it was the Salvation Army. So, these people are just demented. So anyway, where was I? Tricky comes onto this show. I'm not going to keep, because I keep trying to
put it up, because I don't have it to give to put I just up. Put it in the private.
Oh, here we go.
Proof that comes with it. So every time Bron says, I'm behind the coordination of this attack with somebody called Duchess, sick of it all for 7 years.
Well, I mean, Slong, this is her finest hour. It really, really is. I had dealings with Slong because I thought her and another woman were my friends. I really did think they were my friends. I didn't realise they were feeding. And I mean, I can show you proof positive of the sort of stuff that they've got and lied about. I mean, outrageous lies. Cropping posts when I was actually talking about someone else and cropping it to make it look like I was talking about Tricky, when I've got the whole comment thread and you can see I was clearly not talking about him. But they've put it in the court documents because they take Apple to teacher every day, say get a pat on the back, or dare I say a Zoom call, Tricky? Dare I say that, darling? My lips are bleeding sealed for now. But yeah, so this little vile creature at the bottom, this little goblin, okay, comes on and has the temerity to say to Selena, who's got agoraphobia, which is an anxiety disorder, isn't it, you know, that she shouldn't be on social media because obviously she's too delicate to be on social media and she should stay off social media. Well, this is the thing, yeah? Social media, Tricky, is for everybody, not just you, to sit up there and call people rude names every day. Like, you want everybody to cry about you having PTSD, but you don't give a flip about anybody else's mental health conditions, as is obvious from this live that I've just endured watching, which was 2 hours. Well, I didn't watch it, I listened to it. I mean, how I didn't throw my device out the door, I do not know. The man is deranged. He's definitely deranged. I don't want to hear it. It's got brain damage from the... No. He was pretty much mental before he even joined the army. Yeah? This was a running theme with this creature. Trust me. I come with receipts, okay? This wasn't, oh, just like the bombardment, give me PTSD. Bullshit. And here's another thing as well, right? While we're all asked to feel terribly sorry for veterans with PTSD, of which there are thousands and hundreds of thousands, and yes, I do extend a certain amount of empathy. I've got to say, when you join the army, what do you think is going to happen? It's like signing on to be a coal miner, and then complaining that you're covered in bleeding coal dust every day, all day. What did they think was going to happen when they voluntarily joined the army? I'm not talking about conscription, because that's a different ball game altogether. And conscription does sweep up a lot of people that are really not suited to the military at all, and are deserving of a certain amount, much more empathy, than volunteers that voluntary go and sign on for a job and then spend the rest of their life demanding we all pity them, whilst behaving reprehensibly vile and hiding behind it. I'm a veteran, I've got PTSD. Right, there's people all over the world, children all over the world, that are outrageously abused, who never sign on to be abused. They don't volunteer to be put with adults, and when you're a child or a baby being abused, you're in the land of the giants. You are being abused by people 3, 4, 5, 6 times your body weight and size. Daily, 24/7, 7 days a week, for years and years. Not 3 or 4 years in the army, years, decades. Okay? I reserve my empathy for the children and the survivors of these reprehensibly vile adults that abuse children. I think I could be looking at one now. Not sure though. Am I allowed an opinion? This is the thing. But can everybody just hear me for a minute and understand what hell I went through? I'm not prepared to go and say what's been happening behind the scene at the moment. But the men, I must say, have been a lot more kinder and supportive to me when I've had nobody and had COVID and still had a child that needed me and a million things to do when you've got a child, yeah? Than any of these women. Not one of these women have contacted me and said, how are you? Are you okay? Not that I expect them to, but I'm just saying the men have. The men have. All of them. Every last one of them. So whatever man you think you can think of in your head that may or may not have been involved with me over the past year, yes, him, and him, and him, and him, and him, and him, and him. All of them. Every last one of them. And that says a lot more about them than it does about you lot. Okay? I mean, I love Michelle to bits. I'd like to get on with Amy, but she's just got a big problem with me. Because I asked her to stop tagging me on X. Because I needed a rest. I had COVID. I don't like keep being tagged in comments. I'm not part of the thread. I'm not part of the argument. If I've got something to say, I go on there myself and say it under Gertie Rude. Right? I was then accused of doxing her daughter. I mean, where's the evidence of this? Because I asked you to stop hiding behind my friend Maddie Klangwald, who used to have a makeup channel but has deleted the makeup channel. I was fed up with people, I don't know whether it was trolls or who it was on there, that's saying that Maddie was ORMV, because Maddie is not ORMV. Maddie comes from New York State, had a makeup channel and had a very soft, gentle voice. Okay? She has such an amount of medical problems. Her children only have her in the world. And I empathise because that's the same with my child. They don't have anyone except for me. And her children are the same. They don't have anybody except for her. Literally nobody. To see her daughter plastered all over X and called names, I found very triggering and very upsetting. And I'm entitled to feel that. I privately then approached dear old ORMV, who then lost her shit with me and accused me of all sorts of nonsense, right? I'm nothing to do. I can't deal with this. It's like I said, I come from an era in Britain when somebody treads on your toe, you apologise to them. I'm not one of these hectoring, brash, shouty, this, that and the other. Okay? If anyone can say that I've doxed this person or that person, the person you're actually talking about isn't whiter than white, my darlings. She's actually quite vile. Or she was. She's sort of calmed down a bit now. Who actually came out and took on this ginger goblin for bullying a certain vulnerable YouTuber? Who publicly came out? Can any of you answer who publicly came out and called him out for that? Who did that? Who did it? Was it ORMV? Was it Michelle? Was it the big reveal? Was it Atalanta? Who was it? Was it any of the men? Because I'd like to know, because I know it was me. Me. I don't care who you are. You can be my son, my daughter, my relative, my neighbour, my work colleague. I don't care who you are. Hell, I'd report myself. I'd take myself to task if I'd done something like that. Okay? Let alone anybody else. That is just my personality. That's who I am. It's also my background. It's where I come from. It's what I worked in for many years. Not now, obviously. It's what I know. It's how I am. If I see something wrong, I have to say something. Otherwise, I feel like a coward. I went through a large part of my life not having any autonomy. Okay? And it's left me in a way that when I did have autonomy, once I started to be an adult and have autonomy, I would cross the road to help somebody. And I will not put up with people being bullied. Obviously now I'm once bitten, twice shy. They can all get on with it. Cackling, load of bleeding. They can just all get on with it, to be honest. Yeah? But this creature here demands that we all feel sorry for him because he's got PTSD. Social media should be a safe place for everybody, not just for him. To sit there and constantly call people the slur word beginning with R and ended in tarded. Which is actually a hate speech, if you check it out. How he's still got his channel, I have no idea. He's already said he's got friends in YouTube, so I can only imagine that's why. Because some of the stuff that I've heard him say, I have no idea how he's got a platform. No idea how he's monetised, and no idea how any advertiser will want to go a mile near him. But hey, I'm just an old woman. What do I know? I'm just here for everybody to kick around and nobody to remember who actually did stand up to this fart. Who of you stood up to him? If you can answer that, then please carry on calling me all the names under the sun you want. Okay? But I'm over here busy doing what's called my life and trying to sort stuff out. None of you know what's going on. Least of all, him. If any of you want me to come on alive, I would more than, happily come on alive. Maybe have a laugh for a change. But this is so upsetting. So, I've even heard that creep Blander. Oh, a dirty wig just jumps in and does whatever she does. Well, what did you do, Blander? What did you do? What did you say? Nothing? Is that the resounding nothing I'm hearing back from you? Oh, you, from what I can gather, actually are one of the ones that I put in the category of he could shoot up an orphanage and you'd still defend him. Because there are some things in life that are indefensible. And people that sit and defend the indefensible are weak, spineless cowards and cackling witches. That's all they are. They're monsters. They're demons. They're not worth any of us bothering about. Okay? So, Blander, take your opinion of me and shove it where the sun don't shine, because I'm not sure you'd like to hear my opinion of you, mate. Okay? I haven't doxed anybody. I wouldn't even know how to do that. I had it done to me. I had everything done to me. Bloody hell, the only thing they didn't do... I was even post-naked. A fat body with tits and everything, with dirty knickers on, yeah? And then my face put on top of it. Have they had that? Have any of them had that? Because that's what I had done to me on X. Okay? For what? Because I dared to stand up for a family going through cancer, because I projected myself and thought they were just a normal family. Little did I know what was really going on, and from what I've heard, retrospectively, I wish I bloody well hadn't really, but there you go, it is what it is, I've done what I've done. Do I regret it? Not really, because it says a lot more about me than it does about them. I think people that are suffering cancer deserve empathy and support. Even if they are quite reprehensibly vile people, it turns out to be, and that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to that opinion. I'm entitled to that opinion because I know stuff that you lot, as yet, do not know. Okay? I was being played by both sides. People I thought were my friends, and people I knew weren't my friends. I was just being mugged off left, right and centre, quite simply. And I don't just say that, I've got evidence. I know what I know, okay? I know what I know. And the worst thing is, they know I know it. I can't say anything at the moment, and I won't say anything. When the time's right, I will. But this creature down here, he can go flip himself. Oh, well, I don't think if you've got a mental health issue, you shouldn't be on. Social media should be safe for everybody. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If this cretin's allowed on there with his hate speech and his Hitler ideation and all the rest of the nonsense he comes out with, calling people vile names. I mean, do you notice there's always a crowd of women, right? Ginger Goblin and Candor, Blandor. Isn't there? Isn't there? Be honest, there is. They're not even, to me, I don't even think of them as men. They're both fannies. They hang around with a load of women, gossiping, spreading malicious half-truths and untruths, and just being as rude as they possibly can to women. Now, in my day, you didn't do that. Men went around with men, and women sort of went around with women. I spent my life working with men, so I know what men can be arseholes, actually. Sometimes men can be worse than women for gossiping and bullying. But it goes on. And as far as the bullying is concerned, I've heard this creep say, oh, well, he didn't even know he was being bullied. Oh, I can't even do the accent. Fine figure of man. I didn't even know he was being bullied until it was suggested to him he was being bullied. Listen, you ginger shit stain. Yeah? If you feel like you're being bullied, you are being bullied. You ain't God, okay? The fact that you can actually defend what you did to a vulnerable member of our community, and yet you absolutely demand consideration and sympathy and a pissy party for you and your vile behaviour, it's overwhelmingly staggering. I have no words to describe you, but I'm sure I'll find a few in the witness box. Can you hurry up and send my damn summons? Horrible little creep. Sorry, Michelle, to use your stuff. And sorry, ORMV. And sorry, Selena. Is it Selena? I don't even know who Selena is, but they've all got this beef with me that I've done this out of order thing without the context of the hell I was put through. And I don't think showing a car actually counts as doxing. Especially when that person is all over X saying, hello, my name is, I am her. Right? And then when you Google that person's name, her address comes up. Unlike mine. So, keep repeating that I doxed somebody, because I didn't. I've got all the receipts here. The people that doxed me have since apologised, and we've drawn a line under it. It is what it is. Personally, I don't think you can put your head above the parapet without people basically popping at you, really. And I've had to take it. What can I do? Once your anonymity's gone, it's gone, isn't it? Obviously, I'm in the situation of knowing the real identities of most of the people behind most of these big troll accounts. And the thing is, this cretin knows them as well. He knows them. He knows their addresses. He knows them all. But only sent me the summons. Because Johnny Big Bollocks here wants to look hard to his little coterie. I was going to say let's say twat heads, but I was going to use a word beginning with C and ending in T. Got no time for any of you. No time for any of you. I hope you all fester in your own filth of your own making. The way you've behaved to people that are weaker members of the social media community is beyond reprehensible. Beyond reprehensible. And here's another thing, ladies. Final tip. Especially you vulnerable ladies, of which many, I'd say dozens and dozens of you have contacted me privately. When you look at YouTube, you're seeing a person just like you, completely normal, well, in his case abnormal, and some of them are abnormal, quite a lot of them are abnormal. Just usual everyday people on YouTube, right? They're not movie stars. This is where I went wrong. I was so, oh my God, these big channels, these big channels, oh yeah, I thought, how could they bully, especially a little channel like, I don't want to say the name, but like the small channel that I perceived to be bullying Graham and, the other non-domiciled person, was a little channel bullying what I perceived to be a big channel. I was like, how could you do that? See, I was in that whole, hello, I'm 60, mindset. Hello, I'm still living in 1980. Well, you don't behave like that. There's a hierarchy, and I wasn't in the hierarchy, and nor was this man. So, of course, I jumped in to defend him. I'd been through this cancer business. I always knew how it was going to end up, but I never once have said that. I never once would have said to the woman involved, listen, love, between me and you, he's going to brown bread it, okay? Just get with the programme. I supported her right through to the bitter end for all the good it did me, but I don't regret that because I'm a humanitarian, basically. But there's things that was going on where I was being set up left, right and centre to take the fall for them and for their behaviour. I can't say too much at the moment. But as for him down the bottom, what a bleeding cretin he is. Honestly, I'd never get fed up of chucking darts at him. So anyway, I think I've said enough. Oh, and finally to the non-domiciled person who said they didn't want to get involved, blah-de-blah-de-blah, but he's going to have my house, I'm going to be homeless. I love you, Viv, I love you. Of course she had to say that because the whole world was going, how come you turned against them and she was the only one standing by you, you horrible bleeding bitch. Yeah? So she came out with this all not even worthy of a BAFTA. I mean, it was real cringe. Cries as a widow. What widows don't cry, I only have to think of my husband. This is, 2-3 years on now? And I'm in tears. Okay, we are of that age where widows are a thing and widowers are a thing. But that doesn't mean you can behave like that, behave in a vile way and hide behind your widowhood. Or, as I say, hide behind your PTSD. Oh, look at me, I was a war hero, blah, blah, blah. We should learn old nonsense anyway. If he's a hero, I'm a bleeding ballerina. But there you go. And then I hear the non-domiciled person saying, oh, you're so narcissistic, you think you could... No, if I was narcissistic, love, I'd be in a rowing boat, talking a load of old smack, going round and round in a circle. I'd be with my face on camera every second of every minute of every day like you and your lover boy here, wouldn't I? Banging on about boiling an egg or cleaning some shoes or putting the bins out. That's narcissism, darling. I get up here and I actually try to entertain people, and I do it behind characters. Hardly narcissism, darling, hardly narcissism. And narcissism, darling, is when you are so deeply involved, dare I say, in love, that you can't see the wood for the trees and actually can excuse vile behaviour when you yourself have told me that you've never seen his podcast and you yourself have told me you've never read his book. But despite all that, you've made your mind up that he is king of the world. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, you'd be proud to be seen with him, would you? All I can think is, birds of a feather flock together. So there you go. And you can take your narcissism and stick it right where the sun don't shine. Anyway, sorry about that, Misha. I'm off now. I've had enough. Bye-bye, guys.